Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to jump right into our next match against Leipzig, who is right behind us in the table, sitting fifth and sixth. Since the last video, we swept home and home with Wolfsburg, so keeping our good run going, and we'll see if we can keep it up in a match that we should be possibly a little bit overmatched in. Going with pretty much our preferred squad, other than a few injury concerns, but not really having to deal with as much of the squad rotation that we have for most of the year, and we have the transfer window deadline coming up. It might look to get some players out since the rest of the season should see less of the fixture congestion. We have the one change I've made to the tactic is when we lose possession, not trying to counter press right now, just seeing if that can help us not get caught out as often if we're not always trying to win possession right back. Pretty good, well worked play there. Get the cross in and just Jovic got the header on target, just not really placed well enough to challenge the keeper. We do have both of our first choice center backs out with injury, so that's obviously a big concern, especially with playing a team that can attack as well as Leipzig can. And recycle this. Decent shot on target, gets us another corner. I think early on we've been playing pretty well at least from what the highlights have shown, and here just need to make sure not to get caught out. Pretty good recovery there by Wigan. Good interception by Bluther. Flick has really become my top choice in that defensive midfielder spot. I think he's going to get the bulk of the action, especially since there's a chance we can avoid triggering the extension on Baumgartlinger, so avoid that salary commitment for next season if he's not going to be our first choice anyway. Good ball into the box again. Jovic, better shot this time. I thought it was got towards the corner, but just unable to get it past the keeper. Not the best delivery on the corner. And again, just need to make sure we don't get caught out. I think that's been our biggest concern most of the season defensively, is just getting caught in those counters. Flick picked up a yellow card, so that's obviously a little bit of a concern. Hopefully can get him through at least until some point in the second half and then make a sub there for one of our other central midfielders. We have a few that can play in that defensive spot. Pretty good chance there for Leipzig, but not able to get on target. Pretty good flick on by Bluther. Wish Matando had been able to get a shot there, but I think so far we've been able to generate quite a bit over on that left-hand side. Save there by Pogba. Probably could have easily been a goal. You see, just pausing for a second, look at the squads. I mean, we're seeing the impact too, but definitely looks like Leipzig, maybe not the CPU, maybe not rotating their squad as much as we have. When you look, quite a few tired legs already. We have that as well, but I think just more of a chance that we're able to keep it going in the second half. Just they have one player pretty well in the green, but I think to me we just don't look quite as tired as they do. See what we can do here in the second half. Maybe give it 10, 15 minutes in, and then we'll start looking at making our subs to see if we can get a goal, even though given they're right behind us in the table, playing the same number of matches so far, draw, definitely not the worst outcome for us to keep that advantage. Not a good ball forward there. Got split down the middle. That's something that we haven't seen as much of as the season's gone on, but was a concern early on. So I think now we'll look to make some changes. I think we're going to go ahead and bring on we'll drop Khan down into that spot and bring Scott in. Flip these two since Salazar's been struggling a little bit with his passing. Let Scott try to take that. And I'm going to bring in, see how that's kind of what it's seen. We're not getting much going on the right-hand side. I'm going to switch Bulter out there and then bring on Harit. See if we can get a little bit more well-rounded attack when we do get our chances. Pretty good shot, just has a lot of traffic in front there, so not able to come to anything. Give it until about the 80th minute mark. See, hopefully we can deal with this, and they'll probably make a change at center back, just given the struggle for fitness there, and try to avoid that causing us issues later on. Definitely got lucky there, and now we'll make that change. Bring out Unter's. Kaminsky's struggling and was struggling for fitness coming in, so make that change and hopefully at least get through the last 10 minutes and preserve a draw. And quite a few people forward, but just not able to pick that pass out. And getting beat a little bit on the counter, but good recovery. Hopefully should be able to keep this from coming to anything. Good tackle there. But should have stayed tighter, but obviously recovered in time to avoid it coming to a real chance. Great run there by Bulter, just not quite able to finish, but that was great pass and great run there to find that space. Oh, another that probably should have been the goal that would have given us 3 points with just a couple minutes left, but not able to get it past the keeper. A great pass by Scott, and then Harit's first goal of the season. He's been okay for us at times, but finally finds a shot to finish and a pretty well worked short corner, and then he just makes that late run from outside the 18, and nobody picked him up. Great finish, and obviously I think we were the better team for the most part, but not by much. Definitely lucky to get all 3 points, but it's a big win for us as long as we don't make any silly mistakes in the last couple of seconds. There we go. So we take 3 points from Leipzig. So great win for us, as we can see, puts us 9 points clear of them, and everybody below us, the only ones that have a game in hand, are 13 points behind. So really making a strong case for getting into Europe. We'd like to, preserve, at least get a guaranteed Europa League spot, but we're even knocking on the door of these Champions League spots in year one, which was never our goal, but obviously extra income going to help with getting out of debt. Look at the data a little bit just to see how we've been doing for the season. Again, making most of our actions in the 18. Like to maybe break things up a little bit earlier at times, but I think with the way we've been trying to play, it's not too concerning. And gaining possession just outside of our 18, which is good. Rather see it here than seeing so much of it in the back end. And then corresponds to, when you look at where we're losing it, we're losing it inside the 18 at 16% of the time. Probably losing it far too often down here. If you look, we're not doing the same, but we're also not trying to counter press. So to an extent, that's just a function of the way we're trying to play. Being pretty efficient defensively, not giving up much, even if we are, making a lot of clearances, things like that. But as long as it's not resulting in goals, happy with that. Then we look at our XG at the XG table. That has us down in seventh. Leipzig, for example, up in fourth. So outperforming a little bit, but not like we're way out of the realm of what our performance would have said. That obviously is the difference of Europe and not, but fifth versus seventh doesn't say to me that there's a huge outlier or that isn't sustainable. It could just be that we're doing some things that aren't captured in those stats. Look at the schedule real quick to give an idea of what I was saying earlier. Now we have one more match on a pretty tight turnaround, just a couple days, and then play Hoffenheim. But then after that, we get into, for the most part, more of a normal schedule. So not ideal to have our cup game right before playing Bayern, but overall quiets down a little bit. And I think that's going to mean some of these XX players we've been holding for the first half of the season just to try to deal with that fixture congestion. We're going to probably trying to move them out. We have some young players we want to get loan moves, but might try to make some transfers to get some of this money off of our books for players that we aren't going to need in the second half of the season like we did in the first. Obviously, we can't give up all of our depth. We're going to have injuries, things like that. We're seeing it at center back, but we don't need to carry 2 or 3 players in every position like we have for most of the season. Outside of that, the only place we might bring somebody in, I think, unless there's a deal we can't pass up, would be try to get a backup striker. Jovic has been the one player that we really haven't had the ability to rotate as much as ideally we would be. So I think what we'll do for the next time is we'll come back for that cup match and the next match against Bayern. So by then we'll see if we're able to take some action at the end of the transfer window. Thanks, everyone.